Hi guys, welcome to our property channel, Jonathan and Jade Property Talk. Today we've got a really cool guest on. His name's Chris. He's pretty much focused solely on buy-to-lets, that strategy, yeah?
Yep.
Not just Sheffield, the whole of the country, or?
Sure, I've been very geographically spread. Originally, when I started investing, I was in the military, so I didn't have a particular place that I wanted to invest in. I invested in Manchester because when I was looking around at properties, the motorway to Liverpool was blocked, and so I couldn't go to Liverpool, so I went to Manchester.
Okay. Fair,
it was almost as sophisticated as that. To be fair, when I first started, I typed into Google property investment, and student pods in Istanbul came up on a glossy brochure, and they look pretty sweet.
How many student pods have you got in Istanbul?
I don't have any. I dodged that bullet. Bit of a shame. I haven't kept up with the Istanbul student market or the property market, but the brochures looked amazing. Anyway, so I went to Manchester instead.
Nice.
And I mean, 10 years ago, you could have walked into any estate agent in Manchester, and now it would look like an awesome purchase.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be fooled too much by the numbers now, but I think I bought relatively well. I'm glad I invested heavily into Manchester, and since then I've sort of spread. When I left the military, where I was for most of my 20s.
You were a Marine at one point, right?
Yep.
We went on holiday, by the way. Went on holiday with the IPI, went to Ibiza together.
As we do.
Found out he was a Marine.
It wasn't a holiday, it was a business trip.
Yes.
Sorry.
And the accountant.
We had a great time while we were there.
Absolutely.
It was a business trip.
So we found out he was a Marine, so he's...
misspent use.
Okay.
But yeah, so I left the military, did a post-grad.
I'm laughing too much. I've got to stop laughing.
Got myself professionalised on a master's degree in building surveying to try and ensure that I didn't fuck it up too much, if you could say that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I went to Nottingham because you could either do an RICS course in Nottingham or Reading, and I wanted to do a project while I was there, while I was living as a student. You don't need to be... I thought I'd learn on the job, and you don't need to be sort of in your best suit every day as a student, even as a postgrad.
Marine to surveyor.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't finish the survey.
Oh, did you not?
I did the course. I finally got my 2-1. I certainly didn't get my 2-1 on my undergraduate course, that's for sure. But I didn't then go on to get chartered.
That must be invaluable though, going into this.
It's useful, certainly. I mean, there's lots of ways you can spend money in training in property. I think it was a good way of starting, and obviously for me, I was learning on the job, doing a project at the same time.
Because you slept there, didn't you?
Well, I lived in this project.
He still sleeps on projects.
I've tried to evolve a little bit.
The army background.
Yeah, it is.
It was very similar, and the Queen provided me with a sleeping bag, all the essentials, and I did have some food. The stuff that you boil in the bag. They were. I mean, they keep you regular.
So Chris, if we talk about timings, when you was left the Marines, went to Manchester, how many years ago was that?
So I started investing about 10 years ago.
So we're looking at about 10 years ago. Okay. And then to Nottingham.
Yes, that was when I first got full-time, about 5 or 6 years ago, and wanted to start doing fixer-uppers.
Living in them.
Gaining the value as much as possible. Obviously I'm a Yorkshireman, so I was wanting to keep costs down, and I felt by living in them I would be able to watch the project unfold, keep an eye on the builders, keep them highly caffeinated on very sugary coffee, and go and buy the materials, because I'm the one that's going to be paying for them, so I might as well be going off buying them puppy dog eyes in front of the builders merchants, trying to build up relationships. And being as hands-on as possible, I used to enjoy the Fridays because they would be my day that I try and finish all my admin on a laptop, so that I could do a day of labouring on a Friday to sort of sweep up, to move those pallet bricks, to do X, Y, Z. So that by the weekend I felt like I'd done a week's work.
So was the strategy at that point to sell, or you retain? You retain?
Always retain. I go through blood, sweat and tears doing my projects because I'm fairly hands-on and want to do them right and want to pretty much overdevelop. So I sort of future-proof my portfolio by doing as much as possible initially, which then makes the yield on the spreadsheet look pretty average by the fact that I've spent so much money on extending or doing as much as possible to sweat that asset. But it does mean that hopefully in the next 10 years or so, while it's rented out, it'll always be rented out because it'll always be popular because it's always the sort of nicest one on the street, for example. But it just means that the maintenance over that time will be minimal because we've done the new plumbing, done the electrics, done the boiler, we've only just got redecorate, let's say.
You may as well, the thing is, people, when you buy a house like that, you may as well do it at that point.
Exactly,
Instead of
rather than do it later.
Boiler. Yeah,
absolutely.
it's so uneconomical to think of it.
Absolutely, I certainly take a longer term approach than a lot of people.
Which policy is.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly is for me. I mean, I have good friends that are traders, and you know, they make a lot of money doing that, and they can see the money in their bank, whereas I can't when it's sort of in the bricks and mortars. And of course, you can refinance after 6 months of ownership, and you know, when you've got an AST going, and therefore get the uplifted value to then try and pull your money out. But obviously, with single lets, it's very difficult to, you know, have no money left in, just generally, unless you go to the lower end of the market. For me, I've always been happy to leave money in because I've wanted to hold on to the property for a long time. It's a long-term investment, and quite frankly, the more I learn about property, the more you sort of see of horror stories and people sort of blowing up by the fact that they have so many charges and so much IOUs. And I'm in this for a long time, not a good time.
Very safe.
With your buy-to-lets, I know from previous conversations you've got quite like a strict what you buy, the type of buy-to-let you buy. Do you want to tell people what that is? No, the type of property.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So it has always been a very similar type of property, but I definitely don't want to pigeonhole myself as that kind of just a single let investor.
What type of property?
So it is normally family let.
Like a 3-bed semi.
3-bed semi, suburbia, good fundamentals, not out in the sticks, near infrastructure, employment, transport. How easy is it to get a pint of milk? How easy is it to get on the bus?
Just everyday things that we all need.
Well, garden, off-street parking, and I always look to try and add value. And normally that's through a refurb. It can be through a title split. It can be through converting from commercial to resi. So I do end up a lot of the time in the same kind of property, certainly at the moment. But I'm very keen to diversify and not be all my eggs in one basket. And you know, I see a lot of value in a lot of the different ways that people do property. You know, with HMOs, service accommodation, and so I'm very much open to different ideas, and will always take different opportunities that come across my desk because it's sensible to be diversified as possible.
Yeah, I think that's the stage where I'm at now. I'm like a couple behind you, but that's the thought process going into a lot of stuff that I'm doing now, trying to diversify as much as possible.
It's a way of future-proofing yourself.
And you're an investor, right? You're not just a property investor now, you are an investor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've now gone into the letting agency side because I was always a self-managing landlord, always wanted to see the whites of my tenants' eyes and let them know it was me that they were not going to pay, and it was me that was going to be the person that would help sort the issues out, and you know, that I wasn't like a faithless corporation that there was who was their landlord that they hated and begrudged. So I felt that helped with keeping tenants happy, keeping tenants living in the property, keeping tenants paying the rent, and keeping tenants looking after the property, all the kind of things that we actually really want. So I was very much, and also Yorkshireman. So that was my kind of start as in property, being self-managing, and of course I felt that that's how I would learn about being a good, responsible landlord, by being hands-on. Of course, then I realised how many times I'd dropped balls and that I was a single point of failure when there was things that went wrong. So it's good to now have a letting agency that I've teamed up with another landlord that you see a lot of landlords doing, and I think it's a really good way of diversifying so that you're not just reliant on rent, for example.
Yeah, I think it's a great business plan. Jade's just going into that as well. I'm aspiring to do that.
Yeah.
How was that, the initial process of employing, of managing your own stuff? How did that go?
I mean, it's suck it and see. I think there's no way of guaranteeing anything. Nowadays, it's so easy to put adverts on social media for
cheap as well.
for labour. You can you know, we don't have a high street presence, we don't have an office that we need, we don't have a filing cabinet, we don't have a printer. Nowadays, you don't need those things. You need your phone, you need your shop front, which can be your website, your processes. So, you know, we created Word documents with loads of processes, whereas actually you can just do free videos on the screen to sort of talk through how to do things that you just put on a shared cloud platform that everyone can see. So everyone can be remote, everyone can be work. You can have different ways of tracking what people do and tracking how people work. And yeah,
it's a very modern way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's clearly the way forward.
Technology based, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
When I was sort of, you know, toying with the idea of do I bring on my own letting agent and ops manager, it was Chris that I was speaking to say, look, how's this going to work for me? Am I making a great big mistake? I'm scared. I hate systems. So thanks, Chris, for always replying to my WhatsApp messages and phone calls and going, you'll be okay, just do it. So I think it's already making big changes.
Awesome, and the thing is about just doing it is the sooner you do it, the sooner you get better at it.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to start off being good, pretty much in anything, certainly in my experience.
Same with the houses, right? You know, it's like buying a single house.
Absolutely. You know, not waiting for that perfect deal, not waiting for that ideal, hitting every tick box. Get a property that'll start then producing you an income, that'll then start appreciating capital value as they do over the long term, historically speaking, and as you start building up your experience and dealing with different issues as they crop up, and the sooner you start doing that, and the sooner you can therefore start building that competence, the better. And the same with, you know, if you want to get into lettings, which is a logical progression for portfolio landlords that then have the ability to manage their own properties and then go, well, actually I don't want to be the one person that's doing it, so I want to, you know, outsource that, but I don't want to outsource it to somebody I don't have any control with, so I'll do it in-house, and then I have the ability and I've got the network, well, I can do this for other people, so now my network want me to do it, so therefore it can be a self-fulfilling sort of way of organically growing a business. And I mean, that's how I set up the construction company. That was because I wanted to ring fence my liability and not have a company that owns properties to be paying people to do hazardous construction work.
Of course, yeah.
So set up a company, get the right insurances, get the right accreditations. You then have your network. You then say, oh, I like what you do. Can you do this for me, or just friends, family, whoever?
Of course, for people watching that don't know about that, the reason of that is if anything were to go wrong on these builds, for example, and it was under the headliner of your property company, and they were sued, then there would be assets within that company for them to get hold of, versus a company that doesn't hold any tangible assets like that.
Quite, and I'm sure there's a lot. I believe there's good reasons why it's sensible to have separate entities that are liable for separate things, and so that was something that I did, and again it's grown organically. Block management I've got into was just purely fortuitous, but it's a sort of sign of having a good network with different people, and you know, we built a block management company off one development, and just one meeting with somebody else who then we thought this could be a goer just based on one client.
I think when I first met Chris, by the way, I think what really surprised me, not surprised me, but just you had so much knowledge about all of the intricacies about that kind of thing. I was like, oh my god, like you're switched on. Where do you think that's come from? Has that come from just being part of the industry for a while? Or?
Absolutely, I think we probably do. I mean, as I said before, it's great how people do so many different things within property, and that's what I love about how property can be cut up into so many different things and so many different uses. And that's why I would never say I'm just a single let investment. Because actually some of my single lets could be good little mini-modes, little HMOs. They could be good service accommodation, not all of them at all, but you know, some of them could be. And that's why some people go into mini-modes. I say, great, well, it's a good way of ensuring that if it doesn't work, or if the legislative changes, the macroeconomic, you know, your demographic, target demographic aren't the right fit anymore, then you can sort of revert and change tact. So I like the fact that I want to be a good property professional, having these different insights into the property world allow you to hopefully make best of it.
Yeah, and you've got like mega flexibility across your portfolio. Saying that, you've got so many different options in terms of exits that just protects every kind of downside.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I don't think it protects every downside.
Not every downside, you know what I mean? Most downsides.
I think absolutely.
Coming from like I've got same with Jade, we've both got a lot of HMOs at the front. Like looking at what you're doing, I'm like a little bit jealous because I just know that it's
well,
just,
equally, the grass is always greener on the other side. And I'm jealous of the yields that I hear about on the HMOs. And there's, nothing wrong with HMOs. It's the same way there's nothing wrong with single lets. It's horses for courses. I think people go through different phases, different strategies, different properties are good for different people at different times. It's all about sort of what's right at the right
what's
time.
right for you, not what's the pin or the flavour of the month, which is a lot.
And the right deal as well.
Yeah,
quite frankly, it could be a commercial unit suddenly, and I've never looked at commercial units, for example. But if it's the right deal, you shouldn't be, completely rule stuff out. And that's why I've ended up with properties rather spread geographically, because I was like, well, that's a good deal. If I have a leaky tap, I go onto Google and find a plumber, and maybe the third time I call out a plumber off Google, I get a good one that I always need to use. And then same with a gas safe engineer, to do your gas safe research, you only need to find one. And single lets, they are relatively straightforward to manage. Obviously legislation has come in to make things a lot harder with right to rent checks and smoke alarm compliance, electrical regulation, stuff that is all extra red tape. It's all, I would say, it's good. It's exactly, it's sort of probably separating the less professional from the more professional, and I think the fact that landlording becomes more professional is only a good thing for tenants and for the industry as a whole.
My kind of view on buy-to-let side is I get a lot of people that message me and say, oh, I'm just starting out, I'm going to buy this house and turn it into a 7-bed HMO and put it into commercial finance and pull my money back out. And I'm like,
we need to just pause a sec.
Okay.
The battery just died.
how are we doing for time? Got so much information in your head.
It's just like full, completely crammed.
I did want to. I said, I don't know how self-defeating to be, but talk about how there's a lot, scratch machine.
But you've got to sort of think about what you would like to get out of this video.
I'm happy to take myself out of my comfort zone, and this is definitely one of those things.
Yeah, I think me and Jonathan are a bit kind of used to it in a weird way, aren't we now?
I'm a bit numb to it now.
Yeah.
I still.
When we first sit down,
I'm still a little bit jittery when I sit down. I'm okay now. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's a weird thing to do.
But that's like.
It's funny because every time everyone started talking, I've seen them go to panic mode.
It's a little.
It's already inside of our rock and roll,
it's chill. It's cool. So, but yeah, I think. So much, it's difficult to get it all out in 30 minutes anyway. So if we want to, is there anything you want to focus on? No.
I think what I really want to cover, and I've said this quite a few times too, is first of all I'm going to cover why it's a safe thing for someone to start on. Exactly the same as what you quoted and what I did.
Really highlight that.
Yeah, just go on about that.
Tell you what we didn't have to agree.
What?
There was something you'd like to change in the industry.
Yes, we'll have to get back to that.
So I wanted to ask you that then. I don't want to throw you under the bus, but
I've got a question to ask you
that's quite
before we finish,
that's
which
quite
is,
a cool question.
if there's something you could change in the industry, what would it be?
Yeah, there's obviously talk about training.
I don't know if it's training. Let's talk about training.
Yeah.
Or you were mentioning there about the red tape.
Yep.
That's fine.
My stomach's rumbling. I hope I can't pick it up. I want you to answer why you're focusing more on buy-to-lets and discuss it with Chris. Because I get people asking me why you're doing that, and I'm like, ask him.
I was going to say,
Because when they twitch up, don't they, when they see HMOs going to buy-to-lets, like what?
Oh, it's SA now, isn't it? Was it? I think SA is more of the. No. SA is the thing now, isn't it?
The new bandwagon.
Flavour of the month. Yeah.
Oh, am I a bandwagon?
No, because people.
You don't see my essay that I'm about to which, by the way, we need to go and film in.
Yeah, we can.
It is done.
We'll do that. Is it? That's one in town.
Mate, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
And you're doing SA?
Yes.
And that's Eli sort of doing that in-house?
Yeah. And then I've got an offer out on something which I'm desperate to hear back on, which is amazing.
I'm going to record onto the phone because that thing's died.
Okay.
But it's alright.
Yeah.
How's the big bomb? What do we have?
What?
The big bomb?
Well, it's good, yeah. Just working with the lender to get some money released off it now, so we can finish it. We need 150k.
What should we start with?
I'm still I'm going to talk to Chris about starting out on buy-to-lets and stuff. And then I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask you to get your boxing gloves on.
What? I'm on this side now.
Hey, no one's on my side. We're not taking sides.
I do think though we need to probably highlight the negatives of it as well as you're wrapping a lot of money when you're getting a low return on it.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But if you're not adding value,
Yeah, if like what I was talking about, what our goal is later with the buy-to-let. You got distracted.
What that was there.
It's kind of like
Yeah,
it was a little bit. Our strategy later on down the line is to buy some, pay them down, and then just flog them.
Okay.
That's different to if you need to replace your income.
Cool. Are we okay? Carl, are we okay?
One sec. That's playing up.
Sorry. Was there anything as well?
Right, we're all good.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready, Chris? Get off the Teflon. I get rid of the side card. Better. You ready, Carl?
My big lats restricting my movement, you know what I mean?
Popping out.
You ready?
Oh, not me.
Ready? Tick. So and I'm sure you do as well, I get a lot of people like contact me who are quite new and just starting out, and they're like, I'm going to buy this house, a 2-bed terrace, and turn it into a 7-bed HMO, get commercial finance on it and all that jazz, and I'm like, whoa, probably just start out nice and safe and do a small flip or a buy-to-let. What would your advice to be to someone starting out that wanted to go down the buy-to-let route? What's the things they should identify first?
So, start with the end in mind and
Great advice.
look at the property as an investment rather than just a house. So what do you want from it? Because if your money's in a bank account giving you nothing of %, then yes, getting a single buy-to-let is probably going to be a lot better than that.
Yeah.
But if that isn't going to be, if you look at what that will provide you, maybe that isn't what you need it to provide you, and maybe you need to look at something else, something more creative, turning into service accommodation, turning into HMO, splitting up and turning it into 2 properties to then get 2 income streams. So I would, look at the bigger picture rather than just,
It's a buy-to-let.
Yeah, so just to go back to the start, what you said about starting with the end in mind, what Chris means by that is if you're looking for a certain amount of money or something out of this portfolio, what is that? And then reverse engineer that and break that down into chunks, and then if this property ticks one of those boxes, then go for it. So it builds to that point.
Absolutely, because property is just a vehicle for creating wealth. In the same way that buying classic cars or trading in art or wine or Bitcoin, they're all just vehicles for creating money. And I don't see another vehicle for creating a sustainable and tangible and safe with a good returns as property, and therefore that's why I stick to property. But if anything changed, then I'd be out like a light, doing all sorts of other crazy stuff.
Chris, I've known you for about 2 years now, and in that time I think you've always kind of consistently stuck to what you do and done a really, really good job of it. I know a lot of people, social media, Instagram in particular, has gone like this in that 2 years, and people are sharing more. I know a lot of people get dazzled by what other people are doing. Shiny penny, yeah, but I kind of feel like that doesn't happen to you.
No, I kind of just stick to my various shades of magnolia.
If it doesn't broke, it's not broke.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And I guess
I really respect that.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to not be a jack of all and master of none. It's good to try and there's enough property out there to do whatever you want to do with it. So it isn't as though you're going to suddenly run out of opportunities in whatever you want to do with that property or whatever you want it to do for you. So for me, absolutely, I feel like it would be good to own different types of property, commercial, whatever, retail, HMO. But for me, I've very much stuck to residential. I think it's a very good place for people to start their investing and a good foundation to start. But let's be honest, if we look at the old and in the tooth landlords 80 years on, they're the big sort of landlords. They're not buying single let resi, they're buying commercial units, warehousing, whatever, and I think it's all just a natural evolution for a lot of people to go through.
Yeah.
So recently you've talked a lot online about doing more buy-to-lets and not doing HMOs, even though you are doing 2. So you know, it's like
Getting sucked back in.
yeah.
I'm sure it's tempting, and you know what you're doing.
No, like
You're doing that for a reason, right? So explain to anyone that's watching why you're doing that.
So I've gone from just doing HMOs, which was the right vehicle at the time for me, 100%, and I stand by what I did. But coming out of the other end and seeing the amount of work that I've created, and then almost another job to look after this, to manage it. I like when I learned about property, I learned how to do single lets. I then went into HMOs from single lets as a progression. So it's exactly what I did. A couple of single lets, went to do my first HMO and stood there. And now I'm going back to the single lets because I know how much hassle the HMO portfolio is causing versus the portfolio of single lets that I have.
Sure.
I get no issues.
Sure.
I mean, the only issue I had was that a tenant rang and asked whether they could rip all the slabs upon the garden and put turf there. That's not an issue, is it?
Well, no, but you do get issues with single lets. Let's just make sure that's
100%,
very clear.
but you get less. That's just
stereotypically.
Yeah, the only reason I'm saying that, for example, so within our portfolio, we've got more than 50 rooms that have bathrooms. So the amount of hassle that comes from them is just insane. Like I think we have two like leaky showers or new silicone and stuff around every single week. We have that. And that is a monster to look after. And if you think about that in terms of buy-to-lets, I need 50 buy-to-lets to have the same amount of issues with the showers. And also you've got houses that are designed for maybe a family of 3, being lived in by 6 people. So something that I've seen is like the staircase, for example, the carpet on the staircase, it gets destroyed in a HMO because there's so much footfall. And just different things like that that you don't have with single lets versus the HMO portfolio.
Absolutely, but so you've got say 50 rooms in a portfolio or 50 buy-to-lets. Absolutely, you're going to have 50 leaky baths, which is a problem. Whereas in a single let, you will still have 50 leaky baths, but they're going to have less traffic through them. They're going to be potentially better looked after.
Different occupant, isn't it?
Different occupant, but equally at the same time, with 50 buy-to-lets, you're going to have 50 boilers, probably 50 roofs, 50 windows, 50 front doors, 50 sets of keys that could all go missing or what have you. So there is different issues that come with.
There's trade-offs, but then like saying that as well, you have 50 opportunities for capital appreciation.
Absolutely.
Versus what you've got with the HMO, which is locked in. You wait for the values of the rents to increase before the actual value of that building is increased. If you took it past what it's worth for it to multiply, versus having 50 houses which you're building all the time.
Potentially.
So there's certain trade-offs, and going back to what the question was, which is why am I moving across? I feel that the way the market is at the moment, the saturation is definitely getting worse and worse in the places that I invest in. And I've seen it as just the opportunity to flick back.
And that's a good pragmatic approach to take when you see the market and you get out your glass ball to look at, and you sort of make a bit of an educated judgment about where you see the market going, and you go, well, I see what people are doing, I'm now going to do this. And I think there'll be a time, probably in the next 10, 20 years, when you'll go, actually, now I've done that, and now I'm going to pivot to something else. And I think it's good to pivot because, it would be wrong to have all single lets, it'd be wrong for you to have all HMOs.
Diversity is good.
Diversity is very important. I'd like to think that I can diversify my portfolio. I'm sure you could diversify some of your HMOs and put a stud wall down so that you could create it into 2 separate units, perhaps, or create it into
a problem with HMOs.
But you have done this recently because you've taken some of your professionals into student.
That's the split that you can make. And like saying what you said there, like some of them are that big that we can't. It's almost locked in because it costs so much to get it where it is. Let's say we spent 120k on a renovation of 10 beds.
That's cheap.
We can't do.
And if they're all en suites, it's not going to be.
We can't then go, we're going to turn it to flats. It's going to cost another stupid amount of money to turn it to flats. And then all of a sudden, it becomes difficult. But the reasoning behind my decision was I would like first of all diversification and just to balance it. And that way, if the HMO market goes, we've got more regulatory changes, council tax issues, all this kind of stuff. If that struggles, I'm okay. Because at the end of the day, I live off that. So if that's in almost jeopardy, I need to just make sure that I'm okay. And that's where that's coming from.
That sounds very sensible. And that's why I own properties in my own name and in a limited company. Because I don't want to. Obviously, there's been the tax implications for personally held properties, and there hasn't been the same sort of
limited companies yet. But that's such a simple thing for them to flick a switch. I mean, I've got SIC codes, flick a switch, all of a sudden now.
Absolutely.
So that's the only thing So with this industry, one of the questions that we've got listed for you is if there was something within the industry that you'd like to change, or that you think, that you'd like to change, what would that be?
Sure.
Because that would be mine. It would be government.
Yes. So I mean, the property training world has been taking a lot of scrutiny, rightly so. I think people sell people a shiny penny a lot of the time and make things sound a lot easier. And property is an expensive game, and it's expensive when you do it right, and it's probably more expensive when you do it wrong. So people that are given bad advice or not advice that is well tailored to their circumstances and their sort of aspirations, because we're not all the same, we don't all have the same aspirations. If we did, it would be a very boring world. So that's something that I would definitely think should be tightened, more tightly
almost regulated,
in some way or another. And I think it gets self-regulated as the social media world gets more prevalent, and everyone sort of has eyeballs and the ability to see when things go wrong. Whereas previously, without that, it was easier for unscrupulous companies to get away with stuff. You also have a lot of issues between the tenant and landlord. It seems at the moment with tenants feeling like landlords do very little, and
the villains at the moment.
The villains of the piece, and you have media outlets such as The Guardian that are very much flying the flag for tenants, and I'm very much into the idea of having a balanced world between the two parties. You hear about the government trying to take away the Section 21 ability for a landlord. And that's absolutely fine, and I can understand the premise on that as long as the landlord is able to protect their investment. And at the same time, the tenant must be able to protect their home. So there is two sides that absolutely must work in harmony and parallel with each other for both to be successful and both to have the relationship work for you. And yet sometimes you see that not working very well, mainly because there's a lot of stoked up sort of hostility between the two. Perhaps the Labour government under Corbyn were very much on the side of trying to appease to tenants, having the ability to buy their tenanted properties from a landlord at a discounted price. These kind of policies that clearly are unworkable, unsustainable, and this country needs the private rented sector. And the private rented sector provides a wonderful opportunity for people who don't want to or can't buy their own home to be able to live in a home that they couldn't afford to buy, and to have the ability to leave that property because of work, because of whatever reasons, and growing a family easily with no sort of difficulty of the transaction. So for renters, renting a property can be very very good for them, but at the same time it needs to be in balance with what landlords must do as part of their obligations of providing tenants a safe place and a secure place to live.
So, thank you for coming to talk to us today.
No problem.
If people wanted to reach out to you, where's the best place to find you, Chris?
I mean, I'm relatively active on social media. Try and do a bit of Instagram. I'm on Facebook.
So do you want to share your Instagram handle?
I think it's @horizon_living.
You think, or it is?
It is.
Come on, Chris.
It is
Sorry.
that. I checked, it is that.
Yes, it is.
And the company is Horizon Lets.
So, I mean, I have Horizon Lets, Horizon Build, Horizon Management. So they're different companies all serving sort of the property world. And that's how I'm doing.
Get in touch.
Cool. Thanks very much, Chris.
No problem.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you for watching, guys. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you want us to talk about anything specifically, then pop that in the comments below and we'll get back to you.
We'd love it if you'd come over to Instagram and give us a follow and say, hi, I'm B-Space, and you are?
Jonathan M. Ioannou. Thanks.